1 second. What is up, everybody?
Hello. How's everyone doing?
Happy, what is it, the 9th of January?
I don't even know. I think it's
man.
Thursday.
We've had all these holidays and stuff. It's like happy something. There's something going on.
Seriously. Gosh, it's going to be February before you know it.
Happy New Year. There we go. They're throwing it out there. Happy New Year. It's a week late, but it's all right. Well, good. Well, we're talk about how we run our assisted living and how we partner with people across the country to show success and what that looks like. How to become a millionaire or a multimillionaire in the assisted living space. Because, man, we tried hard to get there, and we've had a lot of different paths that we tried that didn't make the cut. So we want to share with you what that looks like tonight, the good, the bad, the ugly. And for those of you that, you fit the mold and you're like, hey, you know what, this is for me. I want to give you some actionable steps and show you here's the path, right? Here's how you go and do this thing. What else, babe?
Yeah, I have a few announcements before we get started. The next workshop that we are going to have will be February 13th at 6:30. We'll be talking about raising money, how to find investors and such. So make sure that you sign up for that. We'll put a link in the chat so you guys can sign up for that tonight. And then if you are not, I don't know why you're not, follow us on Instagram. We are at Assisted Living Mansion. That's our handle. We are going to be doing giveaways next month for those who follow. It'll be a surprise on those giveaways. So make sure that you go and follow us on Instagram at Assisted Living Mansion. And then also subscribe to Mansion Builder Minute. This is a weekly email that we send out. We send out weekly teasers and updates.
Laura gives me daily teasers, but you gotta work for weekly ones.
You guys will get weekly ones. So make sure to subscribe to that. If you go to assistedlivingmansion.com, under the free resources tab, you can click on that and insert your email, and then you'll automatically get our weekly email for that.
What about questions? What do people talk about? Questions, comments, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, there is a Q&A section here. If you click on the bottom under Q&A, make sure you put your questions there. Don't put it in the webinar chat. It gets overwhelming with the chat, and so it's just easier to answer all questions there. So if you have any question, no question is a dumb question. Any question you have, please insert it there. I'll either answer it, I'll type the answer, or we will answer them live at the end.
Mm-hmm. So we're taking questions on YouTube as well, right? On YouTube, on Zoom, wherever you are at, throw it in there and we will get to your questions. Laura will be typing away, answering those live as we go, and then we'll take some questions at the end. So we'll talk for a few minutes here, diving into things. I have some PowerPoint. I'm going to share screen, hit some of these things. But before we get into that, I wanted to just have a minute and just acknowledge what's going on in California with all the fires. And Laura and myself both grew up in Southern California. Our families are there. And so there's just a lot going on there. So we are praying for them. And if you all are people who love Jesus and believe, then I encourage you to pray as well for all of our fellow Americans and people in California. So let's jump in here. I want to talk through the goods tonight. And I'll share my screen. We'll talk through this. And here, let's click over here. And while I'm getting this rocking and rolling, here, let's see. Laura is a master of all things dad jokes here.
Can we call them mom jokes? Like, why do they have to be dad jokes? Like, I'm not a dad, I'm a mom, so it could be a mom joke. What did one candle say to the other, Brett?
I don't know what.
Do you want to go out tonight?
Yes, I do.
I love it.
Awesome. All right, so here's where we're starting here. And if you are not following us on socials and different things like that, you can. This is what you'd be seeing. Here's one of our mansions. This is building C. And on the left of the screen, you see the rendering. On the right, you see this photo, which was maybe 2-3 weeks ago. Looks, it's nearly done. We're building 2 of 4 mansions in our development, our neighborhood. And so that's really what we do. We go and we build 10,000 square foot custom built mansions. They're all 16 private rooms, private bath. We have a chef, we have a salon. We essentially offer all the care and amenities that you could get at a big smelly facility. And so why the hell would you go to a big smelly facility? And really that is why we have been really, really successful in the assisted living space. Laura and I's background's really not in assisted living, right? We were real estate investors. We flipped a lot of houses. We found a need, an opportunity in this space and was like, well, you know what? I see this big problem and I think I can come up with a solution for this. And we fumbled our way through it for a few years until we got it right. And we got it really right. So we're here in Georgetown, which is just north of Austin. And as we are growing our business, I want to share with you guys tonight and say, hey, here's the path forward. I didn't have someone to say exactly how to do these different things. And so we'll share what this looks like and specifically tonight talk about the path for new construction and why you should do new construction and who should do it and by default, who should not do it. And just show you that it's really not that unattainable, that it is within reach. And the numbers, the math, the amount of money you make is really, really strong. So we're building these mansions right here. We have multiple millions of dollars in equity from these, and we'll actually make a couple $1 million in cash flow a year once we have built out all 4 of our mansions. And we get to do all of these things while we actually make a difference, while we help lots and lots of grandmas and their children and spouses, and we really honestly make a difference. And so that really drew me into this space. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to put my name on something that was amazing and that I can be proud of, and I can show my kids, hey, you know what? Dad is a great businessman. He's making money, but I'm making a difference. And for those of you that are like, hey, you know what? I want to do something that makes a difference and I want to take care of my own family. Let's talk about this tonight, right? This is really our topic here. How to become a millionaire in 2025. And I'm going to show you this path that we have gone down and we took ourselves, and I'll share the details. I'll share the highs, lows. I'm actually going to open up my performa and share my numbers of what this looks like, because honestly, when I got into this, we had this guru type guy who was showing us, and I actually asked, I said, hey, can you show me your real numbers? Because it just doesn't sound right. And he gave me a little smile and a wink, and he said, no, I don't even show my family that. I can't show you that. I'm like, well, then, bro, I don't believe you. So let's talk about the numbers here, right? I will show you this thing, put my performer where my mouth is, so to speak. I don't know. Was that a bad joke?
That was terrible.
Oh my gosh. So let's dive into this thing. And I would start here, right? Like our background, as I said, we were waiting tables through college. We grew up with, this idea that we needed to get a pension, right? We were pushed to college, pushed into these pension type of jobs. So I was waiting tables and went through fire academy, did paramedic school, was doing all of that and just despised it, hated it. Laura was working an office job and waiting tables at nights. And we were just sick of working for the man and thought this pension thing was going to be stupid. And we're like, we wanted something like so special. So we're going to do something, right? So we tried all this list of things, right? We started flipping houses. And we were pretty successful in that. We did that for about 10 years. We're actually still kind of doing a little bit, winding down our company in California now, but still have a bunch of rental properties there. We actually did pretty well with flipping houses. Got to about flipping about 50 a year in our height in California when we were living there. Mobile homes, we did that. We did mobile home investing. We bought some mobile homes for like literally as cheap as like $3,000, and we'd fix them up a little bit, and we would do rent to own on it. And oh my gosh, those were not my kind of people. The people you were selling mobile homes to for a monthly payment, that was a hard thing. We were wholesaling. That wasn't for me. I didn't like that. And then we tried to do a room and board, right? And we had this house. It was a duplex, and we had a live-in manager, and we took people off the streets. And I thought we'd make some money. I thought we could kind of scale it, and then I realized like, no, we can't scale this business. This is hard as stuff. And then it really just ended up being more of a passion project where we were taking gentlemen off the streets that were pretty much homeless and addicts and helping them for a time, right? We had this big dreams and ambition that they would go and we'd teach them how to, improve their credit and, get job skills and go off into the real world. And no, they wanted, drugs, and they were addicts. So it was a hard thing. And we ended up selling the business. So you want to add in all the hard struggles to kind of figure this stuff out?
No, I think it's important to note because you only see, especially on social media now, all the success of all these people, right? And they're always, YouTube stars and whatever else. And they always make it sound like it's this easy thing that happens overnight. And I mean, I'm here to tell you that the success we've had did not happen overnight. It's been a decade plus of just like boots on the ground, like just nose in the computer, working really hard to get where we've come. And I think that's okay. I think it should be that way. That's where you you learn and you grow in the hard. And so, yeah, we've had a lot of different things that we have tried in the past to get to where we are now. And so I think going through all that has been an eye opener to see that now what we're doing is the best of both worlds. We're able to help our community, to love on grandmas and grandpas, and then we're able to provide financial freedom for ourselves and the lifestyle for the family that we really want. And so it's the best of both worlds. It's an amazing opportunity. And so we're just happy to be able to share that with you today.
So, as kind of Laura was alluding to, I would say, it says here, ALM is the best. If you're reading the screen, right? ALM is assisted living mansion. That's what we do. And man, I cannot tell you another opportunity that is better than this right now. 10 years ago, everyone was into apartments. They were into flipping. All the numbers made sense. With the interest rates the way they are, with, taxes going so high, inflation the way it is, man, people cannot get deals anywhere, right? There's no flip deals. There's no wholesale dealers. There's no apartment deals. There is an abundance of opportunity for this space. There is literally all the competition sucks. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. There's nothing great. They are all either dinky little RELs. They're a 6-bed and 8-bed. They have no chef. They have no salon. They can't provide proper dementia care. They're missing the mark there by being too small. The alternative is they're just too big and they're corporate run. And this is I would say the biggest challenge, the biggest opportunity in this space is staffing, right? This is honestly the hardest part of this space is how do you get people to actually love and care for people? And big corporate cannot do that. So you have so many people across the entire country that are really their only opportunity or their only option, I should say, is the big facility, right? This is all they have. And that really means that anywhere that you're at, any state that you're in, any city that you're in, there is a huge opportunity to do what we're going to do. And I'll talk about the zoning and the funding and all that kind of stuff because it is attainable every single place. So baby boomers are literally just hitting right now. We have another 20 to 30 years of this opportunity. We're at the very, very front side. We get so many calls, new leads at $8,000 to $9,000 a month for our assisted livings. Man, there is so much opportunity. People are just knocking down our doors and they are not coming from home. Our grandmas and grandpas, we are not taking them from their own home. You know where they're coming from? All the big facilities. They're going through the funnel from independent to assisted living to, more end-of-life care assisted living. And over those years, they're getting shitty care. The daughter's sick of it. The power of attorney's sick of it. And they're like, what is out there? What's another option? So I want to tell you that the mansion, right? The assisted living mansion is the best option. We have the most beautiful product in the marketplace. And then we offer the best care in the marketplace. We have only 16 people. We have a chef, a salon. We have caregivers 24/7. We can do all of those things in a custom, awesome mansion. So this is, I think, who this is for. And I would say that if you have a big heart, that you should look into this kind of thing. I think that some people that are just strictly numbers people and they should stay in their own lane over there, or maybe partner with someone who has the big heart. Right. And because honestly, I believe that success, that making sales, it goes back to that I can really take care of these grandmas. So if you have the passion to be able to do this and you have the necessary skills, we have either business skills or medical skills. You don't have to have tons of experience. Laura and I jumped into this. We had never had an assisted living. We knew nothing really about dementia, Alzheimer's, medication management, any of that kind of stuff. But we learned and we brought on a partner. At that point, we hired a manager, someone with lots of experience to be able to do that. So I would say that you don't have to have tons of experience, but if you have some type of business, you've done marketing, you've done managing people, you've done scheduling, right? You're good with numbers. That's great, right? And if you have the medical skills, you're a nurse, you've taken care of your own family at the end of life, you've done those kind of things. Man, if you can find someone and do those two things together, or if you're a husband-wife combo, the business side and the medical side, and you have some money together, right? We'll talk about some money and funding and financing and stuff here in a few, but you don't have to be a millionaire. You don't have to be rich to be able to do this, right? I'm trying to show you how can average person with a big heart, with some good skills, how you can go from where you're at now to being a millionaire by the end of this year. That's really the intention here. It's a good thing it's only January 9th. We got lots of time. The last thing I would say, you want to do it where you live. This is a business opportunity. We're not talking about apartments. We're not talking about investing around the country. I'm not going to talk to you about syndications and all that kind of stuff, right? A business opportunity where you live. If you live in or near an affluent area, if there's people near you that have capital, right, and they've prepared financially, they can sell a house, they have money planned for end-of-life care, you want to be around those kind of people. So let's talk about some numbers here. I think that this is the best opportunity for these two types of reasons. One, you have active income, and I'll dive into that. And two, you're going to build equity in the real estate. So here's kind of what I mean by this. If you're going to compare and contrast, you're going to get into apartments, right? Like you just have the real estate side, right? You may have a great deal. It may make, whatever it is, 20% cash on cash or something after a few years, whatever that kind of number is. With what we're talking about here, you have a real estate play where you're going to make millions of dollars in the real estate, especially if you build new construction. If you buy existing, then you're really buying it at full price. But if you're going to build, you can build in that equity. We are building our mansions, and they've already had an appraisal that each mansion came back at $6.1 million, with about $2.5 million worth of construction into these mansions, right? So you can build something, and then there's the real estate and there's the business. So you get the bonus, right? There's a value to both sides of this. So you're building in millions of dollars in equity, and we'll talk about that in a few. But there's also the active business, right? There's a business opportunity. How do you make $500,000 a year? It's not by investing in your apartment building, right? You can have the best deal, but they're not going to be spitting off that much cash because there's not a business opportunity there, right? The property management has active income, right? But this kind of deal, when you own an assisted living, you have lots of income that comes in and you pay for your expenses and your staffing and everything, but you can make great money. So this is why I think this is awesome, because you're going to have this active income. And when you build a mansion and you are the best looking building and you have the best care in your city, then the leads, they just keep coming. They just call and call and call. And we have about 2.5 tours every single week. And we have one new person that adds to our wait list every single week for years now, because we can't, no one can compete with us. No one in the market, right? They're all crap, physical building crap and then care crap. So I would say that these two components, I'm going to break them down here in a couple minutes, share my screen, talk about the pro forma, and dive into the goods here. But I think there's no other opportunity in any type of deal or business that can make this type of financial difference and get you over that line, right? We were trying so many different ways and things to get over that financial freedom finish line. And to be able to do it, in a year or two doing something like this, I don't know anything else that can do that. So let me go ahead and switch screen here. I'm going to pull up my pro forma and talk about this, because as I said a few minutes ago, right? Like you can say all this kind of stuff, right? But is it real or is it BS? And as I said, we're doing it ourselves. We're growing our business, doing all of these things. And we're partnering with people around the country. And some markets are a little bit more expensive. Some markets are a little less expensive. But honestly, it kind of works out roughly the same as you're talking about cash flow and things like that. Because you'll go in markets that are more expensive for land, more expensive for construction. And that is real, right? You have more capital to bring to the table. But then you have bed rates that are higher. You get to some of these areas and they're $10,000 a month, $11,000 a month. Staffing is higher too, but you still end up making great money. I would say, I think 40 is a very round kind of middle number. There are plenty of markets where you'll make 50,000, and then sometimes maybe it's closer to 30. And I'd say at least conservatively, if you brought on an investor partner, we'll talk about that in a few, you can still your spouse clear about $30,000 a month, even after paying an investor partner. So anything you want to add before I get into this kind of part?
The only thing I'd add is if you can zoom in on that so they could see.
Oh man, asking me to zoom, huh? Let's see here. I never know what these buttons are.
I can show you if you need.
All right, let's see here.
Click on view.
View.
The percentage right there.
All right, I'm gonna figure this out. Just give me a second here,
Okay.
peeps. All right, here we go. 200. Boom.
There we go.
All right, we're closer.
Done.
All right, ready? Voila. Okay, this is my pro forma. This is actually what I use for my own business. So here's what we're looking at here. I have all these different tabs running through, and I don't want to spend too much. I'll spend 5 minutes on this. But let's talk about this. Is an example of building new construction. Here's what it looks like. And all the different things going on over here. And this deal here that's built out, this is a $3 million project right here. So what that means, there's a couple components to this. There is the land. So in this example, there's there is $400,000 of land. If you bought a piece of property, say you bought 1 acre for 400 grand, right? Then you have your building. Your building here about 1.7. Usually I would say about 1.7 to about 2.2, depending on your marketplace. So that is the actual building itself, just from the concrete up, right? Then you have site work, which may be your landscaping, your driveway, things like that. You got plans and permits down here. You have a contingency. And just as a kind of a side note, I use SBA. And so all of these things and fees all down through here, this is line item by line item, what my preferred SBA lender, all their different fees and considerations. So you can actually see here's literally every single thing built out. All these other soft costs and things, right? So SBA will lend a lot of extra capital, which is awesome. So let's talk about these different things. So we have 10% built-in contingency. This is for construction, right? Your builders, you're probably gonna have some type of change order. So that's this 10% of this number. Supervision fee is when the bank sends people out every month to check on the deal. You have interest, right? So as you are building your mansion, you have already pre-borrowed the interest money for about 12 months. So you don't even have to make the payment. It's literally there, right? You've already pre-borrowed that money. So you have all of your furniture money here, about 65 grand to furnish one of our mansions, commercial appraisal costs, environmental fees for a little survey that the bank has. This is outside counsel. This is the bank's actual counsel for docs and that kind of stuff. Title, survey, if that's applicable. It's an SBA guarantee fee. This is a fee that goes actually to the SBA. And another awesome number here that the SBA can do is after you've spent, that 12 months of construction, right? Up here, you have this money, $157,000. So you've already pre-borrowed that. You're not making payments while you are building. And then you have the next 6 months, so up to 18 months, you've pre-borrowed this interest money. So as you get your license and you're filling up your beds and you're not stabilized yet, right? You actually have pre-borrowed that money. So you're not even paying interest yet for those first 6 months that you already open. Then you got some working capital in here, money to pay your manager as you hire your manager 1-2 months before, marketing dollars, all of that kind of stuff, right? So all of that together, the real estate, the soft costs, the reserves, hopefully you actually only spend about 2.5, 2.6 of this, and you just give that extra money back. You don't actually ever touch it, and they can modify the note, right? So you don't borrow that. But the whole deal looks like that, about $3 million. Come over here. We'll say we got 16 beds at $8,000 a bed. Vacancy, again, we are at like 99.5% or so, but we'll show you what 6% looks like. You can put in inflation. Here's a mortgage rate. And this is what it would look like here, right? So your first loan, $2.5 million. That's how much you would need from the bank. And this is based on 15% down. And they gave me 15% down. SBA can do 10% down to 20% down. 15 is kind of a nice in the middle. So you need 450 grand. If you can get 450 grand, it does not have to be your 450. If you can get 450 grand and you have maybe some of that money, you bring on an investor partner, then you can do this deal. You can build one of our mansions, right? So that's what that looks like here. We push things forward. We got all of our different salaries and payroll and things like that. I can zoom in a smidge more on that. And here's what it looks like, right? We're kind of filling up, but let's just pick a month here that's stabilized. So by month 2. So we're showing caregivers $18 an hour every single day, 24 hours a day times 2. So 2 caregivers, 24/7. We have a house manager. This is at 65 grand on salary. And then your chef, you can bring in your chef whenever you want to at $20 an hour full time. That's what your chef looks like. So with taxes and payroll taxes and stuff like that, it puts you just under about 39 grand, right? Then, so let's pull over. Let's look at operating expenses here. And as we go through this, really you see this blue line across the front here. It's because we pre-borrowed that money. And so I want to start here because this is a really important part. you're not losing money. This first month, you lose $6,000, and then you start making money. Look, you make $21,000, $43,000, $66,000. It's because you've already pre-borrowed the interest payment. You don't have to pay it, right? So you really are not ever losing money. That's what's awesome about this SBA opportunity. So here's what it's really showing, right? $8,000 a month. It's showing 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, and then it hits the vacancy when it's 16. So this is what it looks like. You can see the income going all the way up to $120,000 a month. 120 grand is a great number. It'll net you at least 40 grand per month. And then you can see all these itemized expenses. This is honestly what we are spending in our business right now. All of these numbers right here, right? So you have your property, your mortgage, your taxes, your liability, your work comp, all of those kind of things. Your utilities are in there. Your food is in there. Activities, office supplies, hiring, maintenance, all of that kind of stuff. That's what that looks like here. So at the end of the day, right, you net profit about $44,000. Now that's between your whole team, right? So if you brought in an investor partner, that investor partner would get some of that capital. It's very easy and safe to say that you could have not a lot of money, do a deal like this, and come in and make $30,000, $35,000 a month very, very consistently. So I don't know any other place, any other kind of deal that will allow you to do that kind of stuff. No? I'll see if Laura wants to share, add anything on this. All right, so there's the numbers. Again, as kind of a more deep dive into this, we have multiple training courses on the website. If you go to Assisted Living Mansion and then hit the one course is funding, right? I do some deep dive into the sharing the screen, going through a lot of this and sharing a lot on raising money and investor partners and all of that kind of stuff. So I'd encourage you to check that out, right? So we hit the Performa, and I want to hit a few other things here. And you may be saying, well, you know what, Brett, that sounds great, but I can't do that in my market. And I think that's bull crap. So I just want to tell you that you can do this, right? And so I would say, I got to hit this button, huh? There's too many buttons over here. Okay, so I would say that you can do this, and people will come and they'll say, hey, you know what, but my zoning doesn't allow me to do this. They only allow me to do 6. No, that's not true, right? Think of it from this perspective. In every single state, in every big city at least, there is a big smelly facility. You got 64 beds, you have 80 beds, 150 beds. There is a zoning type that allows you to have 150 beds. Don't you think there's a zoning type that allows you to have 16 beds? Right? You just got to think a little bigger. We're not doing RAL. We're not doing a residential assisted living. Think residential, small deal, thousands. Think a mansion, think commercial, millions, right? That's what we're here for. How do you get to millions? You get to millions by doing a commercial deal, a bigger deal. And it doesn't technically have to be commercial. There's a handful of different options. It could be mixed use. It could be multifamily. You could get a special use permit. I've bought an agriculture land and had that a special use permit done for that. But just think, this is probably not residential zone land. There is a small exception to that. Some cities do allow it. It is all case by case, but 95% of the cities are not going to let you do a 16-bed new construction build. And honestly, a lot of states have very strict regulations on what you can do. And some states say, you have to have a private bathroom and it has to have a full shower and you have to have, activity room and all these kind of things. The only way to do a deal like that in those kind of states is to build new construction. You cannot buy a house and convert to get to that kind of licensure and meet those codes. So you can do this with the zoning, and the same with the licensure type, right? Some people say, oh, I can't do that because, I have to have X, Y, and Z. No, you just do the bigger deal. Do the bigger licensure type. For us here in Texas, right, there's small and there's big, there's A and there's B. Across the country, there's residential assisted living, and then there's assisted living facilities, and there's all these different kind of things. Don't do the small deal, right? Our niche is end of life. If you solve a bigger problem, you can get paid more money. If you're thinking Golden Girls, I'm going to put 2 ladies in a room and they can walk and talk and eat and toilet themselves, man, you're not solving a really big problem, right? You're just renting half a room and providing some meals and stuff. You're going to get paid like $3,000, $3,500. If you say, hey, Brett, I don't think I can do this because my market, the most expensive thing is $4,500. You're comparing to the wrong thing. Either you need to move to a more affluent market, or who is charging the most in your market. That's really my perspective. Who is the most expensive facility in my market because it's usually the big smelly facility, and it's the bottom floor where they have the end of life assisted living or the memory care with that kind of gross lockdown area. You go past the gross lockdown double doors, and those people, they are paying the most money. Steal those grandmas. They don't want to be in that gross lockdown area. They want to be in a custom built mansion and receiving better care. They will pay $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month. That's honestly what it costs. Even in the less affluent areas, man, the lower end of what I see is like $6,500 to $7,000. You can make really good money even at $6,500, and you push all these expenses forward with a manager and chef and all those kind of things. You can at least make 30, 35 grand. And the capital that is required to be able to do the deal will be even less than what I raise here in Central Texas. So let's talk about funding, right? We shared the numbers. It is for sure doable. You saw how we had this $3 million project that needed about 450 grand down. Now, to expand on that more, SBA, they will lend 10 to 20% down, right? So if a deal like this, 300,000 to 600,000. Consider that as your perspective. It's pretty case by case depending on your experience and your credit and all that kind of stuff. If you don't have all of your stuff together, it is still going to be okay. I didn't use any of my own money. Laura and I didn't on either of our deals that we've done. And we got into this by having no experience, right? Everyone starts with no experience. Find someone to partner with. Improve your skill set. What are you good at, right? Are you the business person or the real estate person? Or are you the kind of the nurse caregiver kind of person? If you are one of those, go find someone who is the other one and partner with them. And if you guys have a couple $100 grand together, or if you have a couple $100 grand worth of equity in real estate, you can use that as well. If you don't, go find a money person. It literally only takes 3 people, right? The business person, the nurse kind of person. The nurse, honestly, you can hire them as well. You don't have to bring them on equity. And the money person, you need the money person. But if you have the uncle, the grandma, or a couple friends that want to do a big deal with you, man, that's all it takes. There's so many people that have 300 grand sitting in a bank account making 0.0. It's sitting there doing nothing. Inflation is crushing them. Give them a awesome opportunity, right? It is all backed by real estate. You're going to build this mansion. You're going to build it for 2.5, and it's going to have $2 million worth of equity in the deal. There is so much safety and security for potential investors. You have an awesome opportunity, right? They have money. There's a lot of people with money. There is not a lot of people with home run deals. So I want to encourage you that there is so much opportunity. Every single city you can do this kind of thing. There is some person that has money doing nothing that you can reach out to. So we talk about this a lot, and actually we're to a little promo. Next month, we're talking about raising money, and I'll share that in just a minute, and we'll talk in detail about how to do these kind of things. But I want to tell you, man, that no one's doing stuff like this. They're all doing the dinky little RALs. No one is excited about that, right? Who's excited about converting a house and taking the garage and splitting it in half and making 2 more bedrooms in there? Like, that's so like, let's get something to be excited about. Let's get something that will change our lives, right? That'll push us across that financial freedom finish line. There is so much stuff going against us right now. I mean, like literally all this inflation, all this corporate greed, all this crap, man. Like, I just want to show you, we did it. Here's the path. You can get it done in probably 18 months to 24 months. Right? And you don't have to work with us. I mean, literally go on the website and there's like 10, 12 hours of free training there. Just go step by step through the whole different process there, right? It is for sure entirely doable for everybody. So I got a little worked up there.
Yeah, he got a little excited.
Oh my goodness.
I did want to add, as far as the raising money, I think it was a hard mind shift change for myself personally, because I think you probably are all thinking, oh, that's great for you, Brett. Like, you're a money person. You probably know how to talk to investors. You know the lingo. And yes, that is all true. But from my perspective, I'm not the money person. I'm kind of just a social person. I love talking to people. I love building relationships. And to be honest, I think that's actually the skill set that you need to raise money. As long as you can get out there and build relationships with people and then just mention the deal to them, mention the deal to everybody, your friends, your family, everyone you see. Give them the opportunity to embrace the opportunity that you have. And so I think I was scared to talk about it because I'm like, I don't know the lingo. I don't know how to talk to investors. Like, they're going to ask about the terms and all this stuff, and I don't know what to say. And I just got on my head. And once I got out of my head and realized that we had a great opportunity to really help investors build their wealth. And when I changed my perspective on that, it really helped me to just build relationships with people and then give them the opportunity to invest with us. And that's what happened. And so if you have an individual who's great with meeting people and talking to people, maybe that's you, maybe you're that person, then you have a great opportunity to get out there and meet people and tell them about this opportunity because they're going to jump on it.
Well, next month, right? Here is the promo. It is, save the date, February 13th, 6:30 p.m. Central. We're going to be here back in the studio talking about this. And again, really behind the scenes, right? Step by step. I'm going to break this into multiple different steps, how you can go and share the vision, share what you want to do, and raise money. It's honestly not that hard. If you have an amazing deal, you're talking about a mansion, you're talking about something special, man, people want to hear it. So I encourage you all to come back next month. And then...
Yes, we have, Brett mentioned it, we have a free foundations training on our website. So this just goes over pretty much everything you need to know to start your own assisted living mansion. And it's nothing, we're not trying to sell you on anything. It's just an opportunity for you to go on there and learn everything that we learned, which we learned the hard way, the hard knocks. But we're taking what we learned and we're giving it to you just because we want you to succeed in this. And so go to assistedlivingmansion.com, sign up for that. It's super valuable. You'll get a lot of information from it. So I encourage you to go check that out. We also have a Facebook group. So if you're on Facebook, please check out Assisted Living Mansion. We post tidbits and tricks and all sorts of things on there. I talk about different operations things. Brett talks about different real estate things and money things. So make sure to join that Facebook group as well. And then we also have 2 podcasts. Check those out too. I'm sure if you're on here, you've probably heard Brett's Assisted Living Investing podcast, where he talks all things assisted living investing. Surprising, right? But we also have our podcast that we do. It's called The Donkey and the Bee. It's where a jackass and a biatch come together and we build a wonderful life together. It's all the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, of marriage, and just relationships in general. So if you're interested in that, check that out as well.
And that is it. Wrapping up for tonight. Man, we did good on time.
We did. Well, we still have some questions
we
here.
got Q&A.
Yes. Cannot forget that.
All
So
right.
we have quite a few questions on here. We had some from YouTube too. So thanks. Shout out to the people on YouTube who are on YouTube. Thanks for submitting your questions. So Matt from YouTube said, can you talk about the $40K cash for land? Did you buy land, then execute SBA and leverage the money you spent on the land as the 10% in the deal?
So assuming when we were looking at the pro forma, it said land, $400,000 total purchase price. And then to the right of it, it said 40. So that box right there is for how much actual down payment are you putting on the land. So it could be anything, right? It could be 10% down. It could be 20% down. But let's stay with this. And you say you buy this land for $400,000 and you go and you get some type of short-term financing, hard money, whatever it is, right? Doesn't matter. You put 10% down or 20. So let's say you put $40,000 down, right? That's cash into the deal. And you're not ready yet for the SBA. I was going to go on a tangent, but we won't do it. So you bought the land, right? And there's a few things you have to get together first before you can close your SBA loan. So not only getting the land ready, but now plans and permits. So architect fee, engineering kind of stuff. You get all of those kind of stuff together. That costs money, right? That might be $40,000 to $80,000. So you spend that money as well. Okay. Then you got to go through permits. Permits city by city might be $3,000 on the low side. Places like San Francisco might be $20 million or something stupid like that. So usually not though, right? Like $5,000-$10,000, right? So you spend these kind of money, and then the appraisal. You spend money on the appraisal. My appraisal for the commercial appraisal was like $7,000 or $8,000. So you spend all of these kind of funds, and that might be a total of like $100,000 together. Okay. Now let's just say you spent $100,000 in cash before you had this SBA loan. Now that can be your $100,000. It could be your partner's $100,000. But nonetheless, if you needed you had a $3 million project and 15% down. So therefore, the math is you need $450,000 down. You've already spent $100,000. you can dollar for dollar roll that 100,000 into the down payment. So now you have a remaining down payment of 350. You just have to go and show the bank, hey, well, I bought the land, right? Here's the closing statement. It shows that. Here's the invoice and the bank statement showing the architect and engineers. Here's the invoice for whatever else it could be, right? There's lots of different things that you could spend money if it goes into the deal on the real property side, excluding like insurance and I think excluding taxes. But yeah, all of those things go dollar for dollar. They are not lost.
All right. Second question is from Shelly on YouTube. She said, could you talk a bit about your partnership program and how we may get involved with that?
Sure. I won't spend too much time with it. If you hit our website, there is a page there and we go into detail about what it is. But I would say that we find people who have the heart, and you hear me talking about it tonight. I do think it's really, really important. The heart and the skill set to do this, and that want to build a new construction luxury product and owner operate it themselves, right? Hire their team and their managers and do that. And so really it's coming alongside with our team, working with the people here in this room. Our marketing team is here in this room. We have our construction team. We have our operations team. We have people that Laura and I have paid. They're on our salary to run Platinum for us. And I consider myself more of a jack of all trades. I'm good at a lot of things, but not an expert in a lot of things. And so we have built out systems for everything. You're just going to walk through the whole process here, literally building your version of our exact mansion, having our construction manager help you with that, having our marketing team help you build your wait list, help you raise money with investors, and going through the whole gamut. And so you can hit the website there and see there's a bunch of videos about it, and you can always book a call with us and our team if you'd like to.
Before the next question, wanted to say on the chat is a link to sign up for the next workshop. So if you guys want to come to the next workshop, you just click on that link and sign up for that there. Paul from YouTube, he asks, this is a great question, Paul. New construction costs have increased, appraisal value not keeping up. Near Dallas, building costs for a 7,000 square foot facility was $3 million and takes over a year to finish. Is now a good time for a new build?
Is now a good time for a new build? I think yes. If you asked me 6 months ago, I would say yes. If you asked me 6 months from now, I would say yes. It's always a good time for this. I think that, well, I know that rates are going down, right? If you're going to SBA, a lot of times they are variable. So even for us, we started a year ago, rates are going down. So I would say that's a great place to be. The market, the opportunity is only going to get better as far as the potential income and all of those kind of things. Going back to your question about inflation, all those kind of things, you know what? When we first started, we got crazy high bids and crazy high numbers, $250 to $300 a square foot. And we spent a lot of time value engineering. We spent a lot of time going through lots of different subs to get those things down. And so again, we're like 3 hours from you. But this is, again, kind of why we do what we do with our construction team. We literally have sub by sub by sub. Here is all the framing. Here's all the materials. Here's what the number looks like. Here's all the tile. Here's all the windows. Here's everything. So you can hand it to a builder and say, here's my 20 subs. Can you get plus or minus within like 10, 15% of Platinum's numbers, right? Like there's a lot of work, and that's what I would encourage you to do. There's a lot of work and vetting, and we've talked to different people. And a lot of, because when there's in for that, and that's how you got to get those numbers down. It's actually through a lot of work.
Next question from Adam. What is the term of your SBA? Do you pay down your SBA faster? And do you plan to sell a facility at a certain point?
So SBA is a 2.5-year term, at least for new construction. I think it might have a 25-year fully amortization, but with like an 18-month construction time. So it's just one loan. It's not like you need a bridge loan or anything. You're making your payments as you're going through. Specifically for us, it's like 26 months of interest-only payments. And again, you saw that we're not making those payments for the first 18 months. And then it naturally just switches to principal and interest. So one loan, SBA 7A goes up to $5 million. There are banks that specialize in this that can do more than that by doing a pari passu loan. Our first loan was about $7.5 million because we're building the neighborhood. SBA has a 3-year prepayment penalty, meaning that if you sell this loan, right, if you sell the property, that you have to pay a penalty. And that in year 1 is 5%, because we're building our neighborhood. We're building in 2 phases. And I want to hurry up and get to phase number 2 and finish this project. And the other great thing about what this looks like is when you're building in phases, you can buy a bigger piece of land. You build building number 1, and then you build with equity, right? Like you've heard, we have almost $3 million of equity. So we literally have to put zero money down on phase 2. So that's kind of why we're going to build. We're going to fill up our beds. We're going to get stabilized. It's really more of our staffing, get our staffing all together. And then we have the equity to be able to, now we have SBA, right? So you can only have one SBA loan at a time. Go to my local commercial lender, refinance that out, get a solid 30-year fixed loan. And then SBA can come in on the second one, right? In that example, I'd have to subdivide and do that. It is also possible for SBA to sit in a second lien position. And our preferred lender, they'll do a commercial loan on the project and then put themselves, their SBA loan, in a second position behind that. And we can do that. So I hope that answered your question. There was a lot of components to that.
Let's see. I'll do 2 more questions. This is from Crystal. Does the SBA consider the investor as debt for you, or do you give the investor equity?
Equity. Specifically as we're talking about SBA. So we've had this context example of $3 million project, $450,000 down. That $450,000 has to be in cash. I get there is technically exceptions to that. You could use part of real estate equity and stuff, but it cannot be a second position loan. Grandma can't give you $200,000 on a promissory note you put in second position. So therefore, in that context, it needs to come from the team. And so if you're going to bring on an investor partner, let's say you bring on someone at $300,000, they would be in the equity position on the real estate side for certain. Then there's also your operations company. They may not have to be on the operations company, and they definitely do not have to have the same percentage on the real estate and operations company. So meaning if you said to this person, they're giving you $300,000, and you said, hey, you're going to get 15% equity in the real estate, you do not have to offer 15% in the operations company. You could offer less. You could offer more, right? You can use that flexibility to create a win-win in this. The real estate company will have their safety net because it's collateralized against the real property, but all the cash flow is going to come out of the operations company side. So you can use that kind of as a tool to find something there. Additionally, I like to keep investor partners. If you're raising money, I would say probably $400,000 or less, keep them under the 20%. Anyone who has 20% or more, they have to personally guarantee, including their spouse most of the time have to personally guarantee. So they don't want to do that, right? That means they sign on the dotted line. If you screw up, they can lose all of the money that's not paid back to the bank. So I like to keep people in potential investors in like a 10 to 19% box, and 10, yeah, that's somewhere probably in the like $100,000 to $200,000 range as far as investment. Up to 19% and probably be like in the $300,000 to $400,000 range. You can do 1, you can do 2. I wouldn't do like 7 or 8. I don't think that's right for this kind of deal.
Lucy on YouTube asked, how do you decide the site is a good location? What's the average income needed for the 1 mile, 5 mile, or 10 mile radius to determine if it's an affluent community?
That's a very long answer to unpack, but I would point you first to our location selection training where there is many hours going through this exact thing. But if you can at least get to 6,500, that's great. Honestly, I start by looking at my data at censusdata.gov. Go there and start looking at those things. You can compare to Georgetown as a case study if you want. I would say Georgetown's kind of a medium plus market, not super affluent, but there's definitely people with money here. There are small towns where I've told people, hey man, I wouldn't do it there, right? Like you say medium income of like 57,000 or 40,000 or stuff like that, and you have a population of like 15,000 people, I would pass on those areas. But usually in a metro area, there's always somewhere that you can do it. You just maybe drive the 30 minutes over to that area.
All right, one more question. This is from Adam. If you raise money or borrow from an investor, how do you give them a return on their investment? What timeline do they get their money back?
So in the context we're talking about for SBA, this whole conversation today, their return, they have equity, right? They own the businesses and like the real estate company and the operations. So there's two plays: when you sell the real estate or cash out, refinance, and pay them off. That's the real estate side. That's when they get paid. That's the big money play, right? If we built for, 2.5 million and we have a building worth 6, and you fast forward and I sell that right now, I'm going to pay off the debt. I have 3.5 million worth of equity. If I gave someone 15% equity in the real estate company, they're going to get 15% of that 3.5 million, whatever math that is. It's like 450 grand or something. They would get that check at one of two trigger points. One, when we sell the real estate, or two, if I wanted to buy them out, I could go and do that, right? I could wait my 3-year SBA prepayment penalty. Now I can go to my local commercial lender. I literally have millions of dollars in equity. It's no big deal. They're happy to give me this loan. They'll have another appraisal done. They'll say it's worth this. I'll lend you this. You can even pull out money if you wanted to, cash out, refinance for yourselves and take that. Or you can, at that point, pay off that investor. Now you will pay them off with that. You'll have a higher principal amount because you just borrowed that extra money to pay them off of their percentage. But now you have more cash flow. You have 100% real estate of the real estate side. On the operations company side, you can structure it however you'd like. I think best practice is you pay your investors out at the yearly, at the end of the year. And you run your company is owned by management companies. You have your management company, your investor can set up their management company, or they can use their actual real estate holding company if they wanted to. And then, not to get into legal tax jargon, but you'll give everyone a K1 for their percentages, and then you just make a distribution to each of those teams at the end of the year.
That's all, folks.
Okay. Wow, that was a good one. What'd y'all think? Was it good? All right. Good. So next month, we will see you guys then. Join us on our Facebook group. Ask questions in there. We are happy to connect with you over the next few weeks and share all the good stuff with our mansions, answer your questions as you are going on your own journey to become a millionaire this year. You have 356 days or something to accomplish this. So as long as you get the deal together, I think it counts, right? If you can get the deal on paper, get your investor, get to that loan, you can do all that in 6 months. Man, then I think that counts, right?
It does.
You have this deal in the works that is going to get you multiple millions of dollars in equity, and then the cash flow will follow, and you'll be able to quit your job and give it the big screw you to your boss and do all those wonderful things and make a difference. So thank you all for joining us. Have a blessed night.
See you next month.